You stopped expecting things from people a while ago, not dramatically, not after one big betrayal that broke everything. It happened slowly, quietly, one small disappointment at a time. Someone said they would show up, and they did not. Someone said they cared, and then disappeared when things got hard. Someone made you feel like you were asking for too much just by needing something basic. And at some point, without even making a conscious decision, you just stopped. Stopped expecting the text back. Stopped expecting people to remember. Stopped expecting anyone to show up the way you show up for them. And you told yourself it was fine. You told yourself you were just being realistic. You told yourself this was just how people are. But here's what nobody talks about. Stopping expecting things from people does not feel like freedom. It feels like grief with no funeral. This video is for people who have stopped expecting things from people. And if that is you, the first thing you need to hear is that this is not cynicism. This is not coldness. This is what happens to a person who got tired of being disappointed. There is a specific moment most people in this pattern can remember. Not the one that started it, the one where they finally stopped, the moment where someone let you down again, and instead of feeling hurt, you just felt nothing. A quiet flatness where the pain used to be. That flatness is not healing, it is protection. Your nervous system found a way to stop the bleeding by stopping the hoping. Psychologists call this learned helplessness in relationships. It is what happens when you experience enough situations where your expectations consistently go unmet. Your brain runs a pattern. I expected something. I was disappointed. I expected something. I was disappointed. I expected something. I was disappointed. And eventually, it reaches a conclusion. Expecting things leads to pain. Not expecting things avoids pain. Stop expecting things. The logic is airtight. The cost is enormous. Because the same wall that keeps disappointment out also keeps genuine connection out. You cannot selectively lower your walls for the good moments while keeping them up for the risky ones. The wall does not work that way. When you stop expecting things from people, you also stop fully receiving when people do show up. Someone does something kind, and instead of feeling it, you are already waiting for the catch. Already bracing for the moment it gets taken away. Because your nervous system has learned that good things from people come with expiration dates. There is also something that happens to your relationships over time. When you operate from zero expectations, you start to go through the motions. You show up, you smile, you engage, but there is a glass wall between you and the experience. You are present enough to function, but not present enough to actually be reached. And the people who care about you can feel it, even if they cannot name it. They feel the distance. They feel like they cannot quite get to you. Some of them stop trying, which confirms exactly what your nervous system already believed. And some of them try harder, which makes you more suspicious, not less. Because someone trying harder to reach you does not feel like love, it feels like a setup for a bigger disappointment. Here is something that gets even harder to admit. Somewhere underneath the zero expectations, there is still a part of you that hopes. You did not actually kill the part of you that wants to be shown up for. You just buried it somewhere safe so it could not get hurt again. And that buried hoping is one of the loneliest feelings a person can carry. Because you are grieving something, you are pretending you do not want. Psychologists call this emotional detachment as a defense mechanism. It is not the same as genuinely not caring. It is caring so much that the only way to survive is to act like you do not. You still notice when people forget. You still register when someone does not ask how you are. You still feel the absence of the things you stopped asking for. You just stopped showing that you feel it, which means the pain is still there. It just has nowhere to go. And unexpressed emotional pain does not dissolve. It accumulates. It shows up as a general numbness that spreads beyond relationships into everything. The things you used to look forward to start feeling flat. The moments that should feel good feel slightly hollow. The world starts operating at a lower volume than it used to. This is not depression in a clinical sense for everyone who experiences it, but it is what happens when the part of you that hopes and expects and reaches for things goes quiet for too long. Now, here is the part that feels almost impossible to say out loud. You miss expecting things, not the disappointment, the expecting itself, the part of you that believed someone would show up, the part that thought this time might be different. That belief, even when it hurt, made the world feel like it contained possibility, and possibility is what makes life feel worth inhabiting. Zero expectations keeps you safe, but safe and alive are not the same thing. So, what do you do with this? Because you cannot just decide to start expecting things again. The nervous system does not work on command. Telling yourself to just trust people or just open up is like telling someone with a broken arm to just stop wincing. The advice is technically correct and completely useless. The shift has to be smaller than that, much smaller. It starts with noticing the difference between a protective expectation and an honest one. A protective expectation is the one you set up to fail. You expect nothing so that you can never be disappointed. It is not really about the other person at all. It is about managing your own pain. An honest expectation is different. It is saying, I actually need this specific thing from this specific person, and I am willing to find out whether they can give it. That distinction sounds subtle, but it is everything, because an honest expectation requires you to be specific, not a vague hope that people will just show up, a specific ask of a specific person for a specific thing. That specificity is terrifying when you have been operating on zero expectations, because it makes the potential disappointment concrete and traceable. But it also makes the fulfillment real in a way that vague hoping never can be. The second thing is understanding that not everyone in your life has earned the same level of expectation. Zero expectations applied equally to everyone is not wisdom. It is a blanket policy designed to avoid the risk of discernment. There are probably one or two people in your life who have shown up consistently, quietly, without making a production of it. Those people exist even if your nervous system is working hard to minimize them. Starting to expect something small and specific from one of those people, not everyone, just one, is how the wall starts to develop a door. You do not have to tear it down. You just need one door, one person, one specific ask. And the last thing is the hardest. It is allowing yourself to be disappointed without it becoming evidence. When someone lets you down, which will happen because people are imperfect, you do not have to add it to the case file your nervous system has been building. One disappointment is data about one person in one moment. It is not proof that everyone will always fail you. Your brain will try to make it proof. That is what nervous systems that have been hurt do. But you get to decide what the evidence means. And slowly, not all at once, the evidence starts to include both the disappointments and the times people actually showed up. You stopped expecting things because expecting things hurt too much. That made sense then. You were protecting something real. But you have been protecting it for so long that you have forgotten what you were protecting it for. You were protecting your capacity to connect, your willingness to be reached, the part of you that believes people can show up. That part is still there. It never left. It is just waiting for enough evidence that it is safe to come back.